Last night I made a video and at the very end I said something that was incorrect. Very smugly said that Pete Kegs Breath is a war criminal. He's not a war criminal. I take it back. We're not at war. He's just a murderer. Truth is a defense. He murdered people without due process. I don't care if they did have drugs on the boat. They have not given us any evidence that there was any drugs on the boat. They have given us nothing that would lead anyone to believe that they were actually traffickers. They were fishermen. And even if they weren't, they still get due process. By now, I'm sure you guys have all heard that there were two men who were still surviving and they were holding on to their boat, their disabled boat. And Kegs Breath allegedly gave the order to kill them all. That is murder. The first strike was murder. In case there was any gray area, the second strike was definitely murder. And you'll hear Pam Bondi, for example, and the orange one, for example, defending him. Oh, and let's not forget Marco Rubio, little Marco, defending it, saying that that little double tap saved hundreds of thousands of lives because we can't risk letting even one little grain of drugs come into our country. How will the pharmaceutical companies make their money? But that's neither here nor there. It's the lives they care about. And so they're making these baseless accusations saying that Venezuela's president is a narco trafficker, a notorious narco trafficker. I need you guys to understand something. No, he isn't. There is literally no evidence that he's a narco trafficker. But do you know who there was evidence for? This fucking guy. Juan Orlando Hernandez, the Honduran president, who was literally convicted, given due process, and convicted last year, sentenced to 45 years in prison because he was an actual narco trafficker. There was actual evidence presented to a jury that proved to them beyond a reasonable doubt that he was a bad man and that he was using his position in government as the president, teaming up with the traffickers in order to get drugs into our country. I thought we were zero tolerance. I thought that dried up bag Pam Bondi is continually clutching her pearls every night, talking about how she's got to keep this country safe from drugs. This guy was one of the most prolific traffickers of our time. And President Trump has announced that he will pardon him. And by the way, not only was he sentenced to 45 years in prison last year, he was also fined millions of dollars and he was ordered to pay restitution. That's what happens when he pardons people. All of that goes away. He's taking money out of our pockets yet again. And then using exactly what this man actually was guilty of against the Venezuelan president. I wonder why. Might Venezuela have something that we want? And listen, I just want to make something very clear. I have no illusions that we have historically gone into countries for their resources secondarily to some noble reason. That it was just a happy coincidence that we also fucking stole their oil and took out their government and replaced it with a friendly. I'm not under the influence of anything that I'm aware of, but it's almost like these guys right now are so comically bad at the game that it's even more maddening. They're so bad at creating the ruse. It's like when those people who fake it till they make it get exposed. I thought you worked at Goldman Sachs for 5 years. No, I had a gold Sachs in my room for 5 years. That kind of thing. That's what it feels like. Because they got rid of the ones who were wagging the dog, who knew how to do all of these things. And they are all so delusional and narcissistic that they're like, how hard could it be? If those idiots could do it, we can too. And they have the skeletal idea of how to execute the ruse, how to execute the manufacturing of consent. Yeah, they just have something really bad happen and then we blame it on these bad guys. And then everyone's like, yeah, let's go into Afghanistan. Let's kill 1 million civilians in Iraq, even though they had nothing to do with anything, right? They're like, how hard could it be? And they're all form and no function. They have no depth. There's no complexity in their mind. So they do this cardboard version of it. And then you turn the guy sideways and you find out he's cardboard. You know what I mean? I don't know how to else explain it. You're in some kind of the Deadwood set. And it all looks like actual fucking buildings. And then you realize they're just held up by stilts or like those little like sticks. That's these guys. They've always been doing this shit, but now it's almost offensive, which makes me feel a little bit torn. I'm angry, but I'm also kind of, I mean, would everyone else have seen it if it wasn't comically bad this time? I fear that if it was the woman who won, this same shit would be happening, but they would be selling it way better. They would have known how to create all of the ancillary like storylines and bullshit leading up to the one thing so that they could then like do the thing and no one would bat an eye and no one would question it. But these guys just don't know what the fuck they're doing, and it's shining a light. And I hope what seems to be like some kind of awakening where people are like, oh my God, the government does this shit. I hope it doesn't go away in 4 years or 6 years or 8 years. I hope that people don't start going to brunch again, if you know what I mean. Because if I've learned anything, it's that like thus far, everyone's just been willfully blind. If I don't think about it, it's not happening. If you've given me enough of a backstory that makes me comfortable, like just letting you do your thing and I can go to brunch, it's fine. It's fine. It's not happening. I just need everyone to remember this. Remember that this regime is not unique. They're only uniquely bad at it.